Well, hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the resistance that we coach parents get to doing thought work. And let's understand better what's going on and connect better with ourselves and our autistic young adults, and then figure out okay, what are the steps that we need to practice to make this possible? So, resistant looks like I think all my thoughts are valid, they're all true. Why should I take the time to look at them? Why are you asking me to do this work? It just, what's in it for me? And this is classic resistance to a non-preferred action. It happens for all humans. We are operating from our primitive brain that says life would just be better if things would continue as they are. And why should I change? Because that's going to take energy, and I don't want to take any more energy than I'm using up right now. Thank you very much. That's why our kids resist our help. That's why we label them inflexible. Um, it all stems from the whole idea of processing something that's uncertain, and that's challenging. And especially with the folks that we love, the autistic folks that we love, one of the classic terms that I've heard used and don't really like it that much because I don't think it's not very descriptive for the regular person, but they call this the lack of central coherence. Okay, so what does that mean? It just means that it's hard for us to pull together all the parts of our lives and find the patterns in them. Like, why is this happening? And why am I not getting the result that I want? Am I continuously being hurt by other people or ending up in a place where I really don't want to be? I'm trying to figure out how to connect all those dots, like how the cause and effect happened. And that's that lack of central coherence that you'll often hear Simon Baron Cohen um, talk about when he writes about autism. And so we just really want to make sure that we understand that what's happening is it's not a won't, it's more of a can't. It's a difference in the prefrontal cortex that is determined by their biology and our biology. And what we want to do is pause and say, what is really going on here? Let me see if we can understand why this happens. And we've had some challenges recently in my family where I've had to really slow things down and notice what's going on. So I recently listened to a podcast by Brooke Castillo about anxiety that I thought was awesome at the Life Coach School. And she used this analogy that I hadn't used before. And she said, well, our brains are sort of like a thought factory. They produce thoughts one after the other. And that's its job. It evolved to be able to do that in caveman times so that we would continuously be solving the problems in front of us and we would be projecting what could go wrong so that we would survive. So our brains are creating these stories all the time, and that's its job. And yet, today, we want to consider whether or not those thoughts are working for us. That those caveman types of thoughts of danger, watch out, you're going to put too much energy into this, you're going to miss out on some pleasure, some relaxation pleasure, you're going to be in an unsafe situation. When our brain offers us those things, it's like telling us a story about what it doesn't want to do. It's telling us the resistance story, and it's perfectly natural. Nothing has gone wrong. We need to reassure ourselves with compassion and our kids with compassion that that's just what our brains do. That's what they were created to do, and that's what's kept us alive all these thousands of years and kept us now at the top of the food chain. Trouble is that in today's society, we are operating with a brain that's trying to keep us physically safe while we are physically safe 99.999% of the time. And so it's not always useful. Really, what we want to do to grow is to be uncomfortable. And you can notice yourself. I noticed myself this weekend, last couple of weeks actually, as I'm trying to level up uh, my skills in my business. It's like, oh, this is like, I don't know if I can do all this. This is a lot. I'm overwhelmed. And what do I do first? And is this going to work? And I don't want to work so hard. And I don't want to work so many hours. What's going on? This is new to me. I don't know anything about Instagram. I don't know anything about producing a podcast. What? You know, my brain is just going alarm bells, alarm bells. And so I'm watching my thought factory produce these thoughts as well. And thank goodness I feel like I can at least I can approach some mastery in terms of watching that happen. But boy, oh boy, I have to really put the brakes on and give myself some space and hold the space for me to have those thoughts. So that helps me to really empathize with what happens with our kids and our and our other loved ones who are not necessarily who are much older than kids. And wow, we need to really give them space to really understand themselves and for us to take the time to really allow them to explain what's going on in their head. So the goal is, of course, to have that kind of relationship with them so that they will tell us what's going on, so they will consult with us. So here's that motivational triad again. This is what's happening. My brain is saying, no, that's not going to work. That's painful. Let's stay away from that. Let's stay safe. Let's not put out so much energy. Let's stay in that wonderful place of always everything is okay. And it's pleasurable because I know what I can predict what's going to happen and I know what I'm going to have to do next. Very good to know that that's what my brain is trying to do for me, because those cave thoughts helped us survive. You know, they want to keep us in that cave so that everything is predictable and we can live. So being on alert, notice when your brain is putting, we have to notice when our brain is putting us on alert and go, oh, that's what I get. I got it. Okay. Thank you, brain. I appreciate it. Your thoughts are registered. I get it. And I'm still going to be willing to be uncomfortable so that I can grow. So this may not be the most comfortable time. And I'm going to take extra good care of you so that you know that I know what you're saying and that's registered. And yet I'm still going to push you because this is how I want us to grow. So this is where we notice our thinking. And that's the step where we really write down what's happening. We record somehow what's happening in our brains. And I can't tell you how helpful this is to the other person to hold that space. And when I'm talking about recording, sometimes like if you're doing it over the phone, it's hard. But if you can just grab a piece of paper, a little a pad of paper and start writing down the thoughts. And then when you're done with that conversation, maybe you can take a picture of it and send it to them. Maybe you've got another phone nearby so you can order it and transcribe the thoughts so that they have a record of those things too. And you do too. So you have a transcription of your own ideas that you offered at that time. It's really helpful for us to just notice the thoughts that are happening before we do anything about it, before we consider doing any steer mapping or any changing or any evolution of our thinking, just to notice, oh, that's my brain, it's manufacturing thoughts. And yes, I'm going to notice them and consider them, and then I'm going to make an intentional decision about what I want to do with all those thoughts. Just know that nothing has gone wrong, and we want to have compassion for ourselves, for our autistic young adults, for everyone in our family who is struggling. And we all struggle. We all struggle every day to figure out what is the best thought that we should practice. It's just the nature of being a human being. And for all of us being in that same boat, I think gives us empathy and compassion for each other, which will continue to help us encourage and warn and be consulted. And if we really listen and we really give our kids space, this will help them to practice the set of thoughts, emotions, and actions that will help them create the life that they love that works. Giving them space for their resistance is part of the job. And we're gonna be so much happier when we do that from an attitude of compassion, recognizing that we have work ourselves to do. And then, of course, if we share that, we're doing that work for ourselves. Sometimes that helps our kids increase their compassion for us as well, which just makes us a stronger, better family. And I think that's what we're all looking for. So if you want a transcript of this video, please visit my blog. And I certainly hope that while you're there, you look around and consider joining the Art of Adulting. I'd love to see you there. Bye for now.